Want to go that fast, little girl. Good afternoon. I am Mario Gangemi, the chair of the MDTA Capital Committee, and conducting today's meeting, which I call to order at 3:01 p.m. In accordance with the live streaming law, this meeting is being conducted via video conference and live streamed on the MDTA Capital Committee page. As a reminder, all members of the Capital Committee will have their video active during the entirety of the meeting. To minimize background noise, I do ask that everyone on the line mute your phones, computers, and anyone who is presenting or answering a question to have both their video and audio on when speaking, and when you're done, the exception of the committee, turn off your video and your audio back on mute. Today, there are no members of the public, no elected officials, and no media that have pre-registered to comment. So we can move on to agenda item number 1, which is approval of the open session meeting minutes of September the 5th, 2024.
So moved, Member Cox.
So Member Cox moves.
I'll second it.
Member Gaines, this is going to be easy for Natalie to keep notes today. Member Gaines, second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, that's all of us. And now Nafeez will take us to contract KH3021, which is the I-95 ETL NBE Maryland 24 interchange reconstruction.
Good afternoon, everyone. Almost said good morning. Not used to this afternoon session.
Understood. Hey, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see everyone too. Like Chairman Gangemi said, this is contract number KH3021, the I-95 Express 2 lanes northbound extension, the Maryland 24 interchange reconstruction. The project summary is the work to be performed under this contract is located along I-95 JFK Memorial Highway from approximately 2,900 feet south of Old Joppa Road overpass to approximately 800 feet south of the I-95 bridge over Bynum Run, and on Maryland 24, the work also extends on Maryland 24, known as Veterans Memorial Highway, approximately 3,300 feet to the north and 1,750 feet to the south of the Maryland 24 overpass in Harford County. Work is also performed along Maryland 152 in the southbound of I-95. To the ETL approaches. It says 895 there. That's not correct there. We'll correct that. The project includes the full interchange reconstruction, including the replacement of the Maryland 24 and the replacement of the southbound portion of the I-95 bridges over Winters Run and Winters Run Road, and improving I-95 to accommodate 2 express toll lanes and 4 general purpose lanes in the northbound direction and 4 GPLs in the southbound direction as well. The project was advertised on June 27th of 2024. We're anticipating an NTP in December of this year. And the duration, we have a completion date of December 1st, 2027, which gives us about a 3-year duration for this project. We opened bids on September 11th of this year, and we received 3 bids. First of all, the engineer estimate was $218,194,319. Like I said, we received 3 bids. The low bid was submitted by Wagman-Allan Myers Joint Venture. Their bid was $199,927,983. That constitutes that's about 8% below the engineer's estimate. So therefore, there was no justification needed for the bid. The contract was advertised with an overall MBE goal of 18% and no sub goals, and a 1% VSBE. The low bidder submitted an MBE plan which comprised of 18.05 overall MBE goal with 2.74 African American, 0.23% Hispanic American, and 11.18% for women owned, and 3.93% for Native Americans. And of course, they complied with the 1% VSBE goal. There was the funding source is 100% total revenues for this project. And we do recommend taking that to the board at the end of the month, if you all agree. That's all I got. Do you have any questions or?
Yeah, I'll go. My question, I'll get to you in a second, Mr. Cox. I assume we're happy with the work that team's already doing.
Yes. Yeah, they're doing the Maryland 152 interchange,
right.
KH 3019. Yes, they're doing a good job.
Okay, and they're already there, so that's probably why they were able to. They're just going to move right into it, so that's probably why they were able to be below our budget. So, okay, good.
Yeah,
good. Member Cox.
So that was my comments, and obviously, moving forward, obviously. How is time-wise on the previous contracts that this group has performed? Are they on target as far as the completion completion date coming up 152 and above?
So far, yes. So far, yeah, they are on target. Again, Wagman is leading the charge. Wagman is doing like the main work, the bridges. So we're happy with their performance, and so far they are on schedule. Yes.
Okay, and I'm glad to see, came in as the chairman said, obviously they're there and they've had, I guess, a little up, as far as,
being there. Yeah.
And the difference is it's good savings.
Yes.
I've got a question. Do we know how the workload is going to break down on this job between Myers and Wagman? I mean, Wagman will do the bridges, obviously. Yeah. Is Myers doing the paving, I guess, because there are plants nearby? Is that the?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen that yet, but I assume that, yes. Wagman, on the other one, KH 3019, that's how they broke it down. Wagman is doing the bridges and Allan Myers doing the pavement.
He's doing the dirt work. Who's moving the dirt?
To be honest with you, I don't remember who their sub is. Or we deal with Wagman and.
They may do it themselves. One of the two of them. Yeah. Okay,
I think I think it could be them. I mean, meaning.
Right, I would think they would.
Member Gaines.
Allan Myers, meaning Allan Myers. Yes.
The plant. I think Member Gaines, to answer your question, is about 7 miles away.
Right. They get an advantage by having it so close. No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the roadway work. Allan Myers, that is, on 319, and Wagman doing the structures. So probably the same thing here.
Do we have a motion for approval?
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the contract
for the approval.
I'll second it.
Member Gaines for the second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. That was all of us. So thank you very much. Now Evan's going to talk to us about. Thank you, Nafis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evan's going to talk to us about the Comprehensive Operational Asset Management Support Services Contract, which is number MDTA 2022-04A.
Good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned, I'm here to present MDTA 2022-04A, which is our Operational Asset Management and Supports Services A&E contract. This contract will aid MDTA in being able to align with MDTA's, MDOT 605 policy regarding asset management. This contract will provide subject matter experts in the field of asset management as they will aid us in establishing policies, procedures, and strategies to improve and institutionalize asset management across MDTA in conjunction with the MDOT Policy 605 for asset management. The subject matter experts for this contract will provide technical support that will allow us to strategize asset management plans, life cycle management plans, establish performance measure models and level of service. It will also allow us to identify business processes, roles and responsibilities for stakeholders, as well as it will allow us to enhance our enterprise asset management database, also known as Maximo. This contract will also provide support for MDTA as we look to enhance our capabilities with Maximo, enhance our preventative maintenance and warranty programs, as well as it will help provide operational systems for HVAC, fire alarm, fire suppression, plumbing, roofing, and other transportation asset systems. This contract will also support MDTA for ITS, also transportation system management and operations, also known as TISMO. It will also help us to with new technology innovations with connected and automated vehicles and electrical vehicles as well. The contract value for this contract is $8 million. This contract was advertised on June 29th of 2023, and technical proposals were due to MDTA on August 31st of 2023. At the time of the technical proposals, there were 4 technical proposals submitted, by 4 different consultant firms. The first consultant firm through a joint venture was KCI and JMT. The second consultant firm was Wallace Montgomery. The third consultant firm was WSP and RK&K, again through a joint venture. And last but not least, we had Gannett Fleming and Century Engineering through a joint venture. At this time, we are recommending award for this contract to WSP and RK&K. There were no bid protests or rejections during this solicitation. The MBE goals for this contract was overall of 29% MBE goals, with 10% for women, 7% for African American, and 1% for VSBE. And there was no SBR designation on this contract. The contractor has submitted an MBE plan that does meet the goals that were set, by MDTA, and the MDE plan has been approved by Civil Rights and Fair Practice. WSP and RK&K have provided services to MDTA in the past and are currently providing services to MDTA through a variety of various A&E contracts. The anticipated NTP for this contract is in December the 19th, 2024. And at this time, we are asking for approval to move forward with this contract.
Thank you, Evan. Mr. Cox, go ahead.
Let me, you started advertising back in June over a year ago. What was the delay on bringing it to our committee?
So after it was advertised, each consultant firm had to submit technical proposals. And then after the technical proposals were submitted, we also had to do some evaluations, along with the technical proposals. So that took some time, in getting that prepared before we could bring it, to Capitol.
Okay, thank you.
Member Gaines, you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So what was the basis that we selected them? Like it was on the technical proposals, I guess?
Yes, sir.
There was no price difference. Doesn't seem they didn't.
They must have had some unit rates, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yes. The total value of the contract was an $8 million contract, and like you mentioned, during the evaluations, that's kind of what dictated, the firm that was selected.
So
can you tell us what does WSP stand for? What company is that?
I don't know off the top of my head. I should know what it is because I deal with them all the time.
Oh, you do? Okay. That doesn't ring a bell with me, but that's.
Uh,
How about RK&K? Who is that?
Actually, is it WSP Environmental Consulting out of Canada? Is that them?
no, it's not them. Hold on.
No members.
RK&K is Rumble, Keppel, and Call, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's very familiar.
Member Gaines,
Right.
member Jimmy. This is Jeff
Yes.
Davis from procurement. I want to clarify, WSP just goes by WSP.
Yeah. I
Um,
had it.
Okay.
It is, if you remember Parsons Brinkerhoff and I forget the other firm, unfortunately, at this time, merged. And at the end of the day, through all the mergers, they go by WSP
Nice.
USA at this point.
That helped. That helped. Yep. Great.
Well, Rumble, Keppel, and Call has been around longer than I have.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's saying something. Evan, the after this 5 years, and this is from a connected autonomous vehicle standpoint, are they going to tell, will their work tell us what we need to do to upgrade? Because I'm assuming at some point in time, we're going to have to upgrade our systems to communicate with CAVs. And I know we've been looking at that in the past. And I think we even had a pilot study not too long ago, which I was going to ask about too, but I'll just go with from a CAV, what do we expect out of this work?
So I think so basically as we kind of navigate into CAVs, they're going to help us to I guess further enhance and further our ability to I guess kind of move forward with CAV. So I mean, I guess more is going to be kind of determined once we kind of bring them on board. But as that is becoming a technology that is heavily utilized, we want to be able to have subject matter experts that will help us and provide us recommendations on how we continue to push that forward.
So and Jim, you got your hand raised. You want to come on and respond to that? I guess before you do that, one of the things that might be helpful to this group, this committee, is kind of tell us where we are related to CAV today and where we think we're headed. It's been a while since we talked about it, and it's obviously a wave of the future. So we want to make sure we're ready for it. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, good afternoon. Jim Harkness, Chief Engineer. Just wanted to come on and sort of help with Evan and just a broader picture in OEC as well as with these new contracts that are before you this afternoon. We utilized the resources of consultants in order to explore applications for connected and autonomous vehicles and how we as infrastructure owners and operators need to be prepared for those things in terms of communications, software development, just with personnel and levels of training, applications in equipment. So a variety of items. Some of the things OEC will handle, and some of the things will be handled under the contract that's before you this afternoon. So it's sort of a shared effort in terms of things for connected and autonomous vehicles. So as you mentioned, we did have a pilot a few years back where we were piloting the use of the dedicated short range radio communications at the tunnel.
Right.
So we essentially ran through that pilot. We were in the data collection mode, so we were essentially listening, seeing if we could get a little experience under our belt, what kind of vehicles were coming through the tunnels, were we able to receive messages, and so we did that work. We wrapped that up. Essentially, at that time, it was one of these where the technology wasn't solidified, so it was sort of, is it going to be DSRC? Is it going to be cellular? Is it going to be something else, or is it going to be a combination? And so since that time, FAA has made some changes, has kind of opened up some of the spectrum and allowed some non-safety use of the spectrum. So it looks like cellular is going to probably be handling most of the CAV communications as we move forward. So then now, essentially, we didn't invest too heavily in that DSRC, thankfully. We were just kind of getting our toes in the water. Now we're just kind of keeping our eyes out and ears out in terms of what's coming down the road in terms of cellular. What, as infrastructure owner operators, would we need to do to be prepared for fleet vehicles as well as our customers, obviously. And so just, being able to stay up to date with technology, being able to permit folks that want to, run some autonomous vehicles on authority roadways. We need to be able to have resources for that. And some of that is what would play out with the contracts that you have before you today.
Thank you for that follow-up. I think that was helpful. I do think it might be something we want to, Chris Jim, I keep giving you other topics, but I think CAV is, the reason why I think about it, so I had to drive my mom to the mall today. I had other things I really wanted to do, but my mom won't drive there. And I'm thinking, gosh, if we had CAV, I could have just pushed a button and said, take my mom to the mall. So, I'm thinking that people are getting scared to drive on the interstates. So not to mention, we know that if it's working well, we can actually put more volume through at higher rates of speed too. So but we have to have the infrastructure, and what does that look like? I mean, you got guardrails that have gadgetry on them. You've got the lane markers that have gadgetry on them. I mean, you got all this, there's going to be this huge, you just said, all this big communication network's going to be going on.
It may just be putting up
like high rate of speed too.
And it may be putting up, 5G cellular towers, small cell or 6G, whatever, it may end up being. So.
Right. So, all right. Well, Evan, thank you. Do we have a motion for approval of that contract? I almost forgot to do that part. Sorry, Evan. So moved by Member Gaines. Second by Member Cox. Any further discussion?
I got one comment. I just hope we're not going to get steamrolled into going to all electric vehicles, especially on these heavier equipment. I think there's jury's out on that. It's at least as many negatives as there are positives. And we heard the secretary talk about the issues they got with trying to go to EV buses and how that's not going to work. But as I'm sure we've all read, in some ways it's not environmentally sound with all the batteries, and especially for these bigger equipment and trucks. So anyhow, just be skeptical is all I would say.
Well, I think the good news is
Jim will be.
Good point.
We're going to potentially learn some of that from this work that.
But we don't want to be, steamrolled by the politicians who want to pat themselves on the back and look what we did. So. Present company.
We're going to get the education. So, any further?
Thanks, Member Gaines.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you.
Now, Jennifer is going to give us an update on the Consolidated Transportation Program, both the process as well as additions. So, Ms. Stump, you are on.
Hello, thank you. Good afternoon. For the record, I'm Jennifer Stump, the Assistant Capital Program Manager. Today, I'm presenting the Consolidated Transportation Program process and additions. This information will also be presented to the Finance and Administration Committee on October 10th and to the full board on October 31st. Each year, the Maryland Transportation Authority releases the CTP, which presents MDTA's ongoing and new capital projects for a 6-year rolling period. The draft CTP is presented to the board in June of each year for approval, and in the following fall, it is presented to the local elected officials and citizens throughout Maryland for review and comment. It is then revised and presented as the final CTP and presented to the board in November for approval to be part of the governor's budget to the Maryland General Assembly in January. The CTP is separated into 3 parts: construction program major projects, development and evaluation program, major projects, and system preservation minor projects. Major capital projects are listed individually, and minor projects are grouped and shown by category of work. The construction program major projects and system preservation minor projects programs include ongoing projects and those projects scheduled to begin construction within the 6-year period. The D&E program contains those major projects which are being prepared for possible future addition to the construction program. Projects are moved from the D&E program to the construction program as funds and resources become available based on the merits of the projects. MDTA's capital projects originate from a variety of sources. Long-range capital needs includes planned rehabilitation or replacement projects based on life cycle. The expected useful life of a component does not provide an exact rehabilitation or replacement date, but gives an idea of when MDTA should begin planning and budgeting to address it. Inspection findings used in tandem with life cycle estimates to confirm rehabilitation or replacement is necessary as scheduled or to expedite a project when it is needed ahead of schedule. Regulatory compliance includes projects for EPA mandated stormwater management. Increased capacity needs is based on traffic forecast recommendations. Local priority letters or legislative requests, as they're established each year as Maryland counties and Baltimore City are asked to submit a list of priorities for the state transportation system. Once identified, projects are prioritized based on customer needs for safety and security or increased capacity through improvements or system preservation. Funding availability to budget for identified projects is based on the MDTA 6-year financial forecast, which considers estimates of traffic and revenue, the operating budget and capital budget, debt service payments, the potential need for future bond sales and toll increases, and compliance with financial standards. The fiscal year 2025 to 2030 final CTB to be presented for approval in November includes 11 new projects which are detailed in Attachment A. So on Attachment A is the 11 projects. We have replace and rehabilitate FMT electrical switchgear, the ICC sign panel replacements, multi-area bridge bearings and joint rehabilitation, highways, ramp rehabilitation and paving, FMT administration building easy pass renovation, Chesapeake House water system repairs, on-call facility and building repairs, I-895 southbound spur approach bridge replacement, I-95 southbound bridges over Big and Little Gunpowder, remodel Southern AOC at Bay Bridge, and FMT facility roof replacements. That concludes this presentation for the process and additions. Are there any questions?
I got a question. What's the problem with the water system at John F. Kennedy Highway? I mean, usually a water line, once it's in the ground, it's pretty good for 50, 60 years, more depending on the materials used. You know, you probably don't know, do you?
I don't remember Gaines. Jim?
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, so we had some emergency repairs associated with the tanks, and when we were
tanks itself, okay.
Tanks and the, you know, the exterior, the pipes, the feed pipes, and then we also, you know, ended up getting in there and running in to some scaling issues that we had inside the pipe.
What was the pipe?
So
this is the pipe in the tanks, you mean? Or
well,
underground?
Well, we initially had some leaks with the pipes at the interface with the tank. And then when we were working on that, we ended up looking at the pipes that went from the tank under I-95 into the service plaza, and we found some scaling and some things like that you know, essentially leads us to having to do a replacement.
With a cast iron pipe?
Yes.
So it was not cement lined, I guess.
No.
So it was back in, when was it built? Put in the 50s or something?
That was that was 60s.
60s, okay.
Yep.
Because after the 60s, they're pretty much all cement lined, but.
Yeah.
And is not a follow-up question. I think are the tanks on the south side, Jim, of the highway. Am I correct?
Well, if we say
it's
running
side,
north,
if
we're saying it runs north-south, they're on the west side.
West side, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
Jim.
like putting you on the spot, Jennifer. Sorry.
August, Jim's backing me up.
Yeah,
There
some
you
backup.
go. There you
You
go.
had some
It's a
backup,
team
Jeff.
here. It's a good thing. Any further questions? Before we adjourn, I want to thank both of you for obviously rearranging your schedules in consideration of what's going on tomorrow. So appreciate you guys being flexible, and everybody else that's on here. Thank you for your flexibility and switching to a few hours earlier than we planned on meeting. So thank you very much. And with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Member Gaines, second by Member Cox. Thank you, everybody. All
One
in
question,
favor?
Mr. Chairman, hold 1 second.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Does Jennifer need a motion on her presentation?
No, it was just an update item.
Okay,
It's
okay.
for the
Got it.
projects that'll be part of the CTP that will be presented for approval in November.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And